Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about Ikechukwu. So, Ikechukwu is a very, very popular name in Igbo. And of course, Igbo is from Nigeria. And it's such a high level name that firstborns, the firstborn males are usually given that name Ikechukwu. And Ikechukwu means the power of God. That is the simple meaning of it. Ikechukwu. Ike refers to power. And of course, power and energy are related. And Chukwu is God. But you want to understand Chukwu as Chiukwu. There's a reason you want to understand it, because the ancient Africans usually have a very, very good spirituality. And this spirituality is very, very important because human beings are a spiritual entity. You know about mind, body. So the mind of a human being, you can sometimes understand it as the spirit or the soul of that human being. So it's a mind, body being, human beings. So in Igbo, everybody has a chi. Like I have my own chi. My own chi is a unique chi. I don't share that chi with somebody else. You have your own chi. All the people in the world have their own chis. And God is the Chiukwu. Okay. Now, of course, we know God is the person who created this universe. He's omnipotent, he's omnipresent. He can be in Japan and be in China and be in the UK at the same time. But human beings, as we know it, don't have those abilities. It is possible they could be there. We can connect, say, electronically. I could be speaking to somebody in Japan and with telephone, and it's like I'm there, but I'm here. I'm not like God. I don't think anybody is God. So anyway, cut a long story short is, but why are we giving people the name Ikechukwu? So Ikechukwu, of course, is speaking about the power of God. And there are things that are the power of God because they are superhuman. So I am a chi. My own chi does human things, but my own chi can also do superhuman things. And that when it does superhuman things, it becomes Chiukwu, because it's only God that can do superhuman things, something above the chi. And in Igbo culture, you aim for your chi to be in alignment with Chiukwu so that you can manifest superhuman things. And it's very, very important. This is 2020, that we train our chi to be able to do the superhuman or the metahuman, something that ordinarily wouldn't be possible. And there are so many different ways we can do that. But we know here on earth, every now and then, things that are superhuman happen. Sometimes somebody cultivated superhuman powers and was able to do that, but sometimes it just happens. And it makes us believe that there is a higher power out there that is able to do things that are beyond the norm. Let's take a look at Barack Obama. So we have like this America, and black people have struggled in this country for a very long time, and this black man shows up. He doesn't have a lot of political experience, but he went against the Clintons. These are very established people in the Democratic Party. He ran against them and he won them. And not just that, he ran for president. He won Romney. He won McCain, John McCain. So, how did he do all that? How did he do all that? It's a big question. He didn't just win one term, he won 2 terms. He completed his term. He's still alive. The other day we saw him shirtless riding a sailboat or surfing or something like that. How did he do it? It's the power of God, because he did what nobody anticipated was going to be done at that time. And he wasn't like a president sitting in his office. It was a real president who was going around the world. He was going to Japan, China. He moved around the world. He carried himself up and down. They even killed bin Laden. So it is the power of God that this thing that seemed impossible was possible and was carried out. So this is it's a demonstration of Ikechukwu, which is the what? The power of God. So Barack Obama is an example. The other day I went to church, the pastor was talking about another pastor who had a little daughter, so maybe a toddler, and he was in his living room with his wife chit-chatting, and suddenly they started looking for this little girl. They looked all over, checked in the rooms, they didn't find her, and he ran to the pool. It was cold in winter, and they looked, the baby had drowned in the pool. Oh my God. So he ran into the pool right away, pulled the baby out, started doing CPR, and he had a neighbor. His neighbor was a paramedic. So he's trained in CPR. That's what he's supposed to be doing all day. So the neighbor came and did CPR. He did CPR for 15 minutes, no sign of life. And he called him aside and told him, it's done. And he said no, he doesn't believe it. He should carry on with the CPR. And his neighbor, of course, the neighbor, he carried on. The ambulance came. They took the baby to the hospital. The doctors checked. EKG, put EEG, everything, no sign of life. Did all the things they can do, injected whatever they can inject, no sign of life. The doctor came out and said to the pastor, I'm sorry to tell you, if it's okay with you, let's pull this kid out of the life machine. And the pastor said, no, keep going. So the baby was admitted in the hospital, the little kid, and 1 week went by, 2 weeks went by. Believe it or not, after a few weeks, the kid said something and he screamed. And from there, the kid wiggled a little toe, and before you know it, the baby was discharged from hospital. The baby walked out of the hospital. And the kid is fine. Till this day, was going to school and doing well. This is something superhuman. It's very rare in medicine. If you are denied or deprived of oxygen for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you are gone. If you come back, you're a vegetable. But it shows you that superhuman things are possible. So, this is one of the things that make this life precious. When we see things that are superhuman, things that are heroic. So in Africa, when we say Ikechukwu, we're referring to something that is heroic, a power that is from God. It's not a simple human power. And it's basically, maybe you have a business, you're not supposed to succeed in that business, but you did succeed. Maybe you opened a shop to sell soda, and on the same block, there are 50 people selling soda, and there's a big government sign there saying nobody should drink soda. And yet, you were able to succeed in selling soda. And of course, soda is not a good example. Say you're selling kale, and there are 50 people selling kale, and there's a government sign saying don't sell kale, but sell soda, but yet you are able to sell kale. That's like a superhuman power. How were you able to do it? It comes down to how were you able to do it. And it comes down to believing that you can do it. And you are doing something you believe you can do. You saw a goal and you are taking action that shows that you saw the light at the end of the tunnel and you went ahead and took the actions to reach that light. So Ikechukwu, it's a name and we say left and right and center, but it calls for meditation. How can we have this power of God in our lives? And when we talk about Ikechukwu, it's easy for me to say, this thing happened there. A soldier was trapped. There were 50 soldiers shooting at him and he was able to escape. And we say it's the power of God, that's fine. But what of the power of God in our own lives? We all have to enhance our lives by what? Tapping into the power of God. Psalm 82 verse 6 says that we are gods, that we are the sons of God, we're children of God. That means I have a chi. The same thing that is in God is in me. That means I'm able to exert the power of the Ikechukwu or the power of God. So there are certain things I could do normally. I could probably wake up in the morning. I could probably cook a meal. And those are human things. Those are basic things people could do. But there are certain things I could do that is superhuman. Like if I were to be able to start a city and provide everybody with water and electricity somewhere in Africa, that will be something that is superhuman. It's a very, very high level thing to do. So anyway, let's go back to Igbo, Ikechukwu. So you already know you have a chi and I have a chi, and I have to use my chi to manifest the Ikechukwu. So how do I go about that? So one of the things I want to do is to, of course, think of the things that consolidate my power. Okay. So there are several power structures in Igbo, but I'll discuss two of them. One of them is Ikenga. So Ikenga is something in the traditional sense, it's a wooden structure and you go in front of it to meditate. It's something that brings you to meditation. So you can use the old version, you can use modern versions, you can use anything that can bring you to attention. Even if you have a majestic wife, you can use her as an Ikenga. But you have to be able to go in a meditative stance in front of the Ikenga. Because what you're trying to do is to pull your strength together. This is your Ike. So that it's not just the Ikechi or Chi-Ike, that is the power of your own chi, but it's a big one from the Almighty. So Ikenga is something you want to have and meditate in front of it. And the other thing you want to have is what they call Ofo. Because in Igbo we say Ofo Buike, which means Ofo is power. And the Ofo is an instrument of truth, authority, law, and justice. That means if you want to have power, you have to be truthful, because the truth makes you authoritative. If you are the president and you say you're going to do this and you don't do it, and tomorrow you say you're going to do this and you don't do it, and you say you're going to do this and you don't do it, you will lose power. If you're a husband and you say you will do this and you don't do it, you do this, you don't do it, you will lose power. So you want to what? Keep your word. Respect your word. There's what we call Ikweme in Igbo. You do what you say you will do. You speak and you do. You become respectable. You have power. So that Ofo is associated with something called Ogu. There's something called Oguike, which is power Ogu. So Ogu is uprightness or innocence. So you want to exercise power in an upright manner. If not, you won't have power. So if Obama became president and he launched nuclear bomb on somebody and there's a nuclear war that kills billions of people here on earth, he's going to, his power is not from Chukwu, it's not Ikechukwu, but it's probably Ikechukwu or a devious authority that gave him the power. So your power has to be made upright by adhering to integrity, to decency, by having a conscience, by following ethics. You have to be ethical when you do things. And you can take a course on ethics if you think it will be useful to you. So these are some of the tools. Ikenga. You have to know meditation, meditate in front of the Ikenga. Even if you're not meditating in front of an Ikenga, you can meditate beside it, but you have to be doing the meditation because it's one of the ways to strengthen your mind and body. And you have to be following the truth. Say the truth and follow it. So speak and do what you say. It's very, very important. So these are a few ways which you can start to begin to harness this Ikechukwu in your life. You can through meditation, through respecting your word, through being ethical, begin to harness more power so that more powerful things can happen to you. We don't know how Obama became president, but of course he ran for office. He was a senator. He wasn't a governor or any of the higher level positions. He wasn't even a big ranking senator, but he ran for president. He was credible. He looked like somebody who had an offer. He was speaking with integrity. People believed him. People believed he was going to do what he said. People believed he was going to do what he said. That's why he was voted in. So people didn't believe the other candidates as much as they believed him. It's as simple as that. So it's very, very important that we use some of these structures you offer, meditation, to help build and restore the power of God in our lives so that we can, do more for the world. And Obama could have done more. Probably he could have done way more than he did if he knew about the Ikenga and he knew about the Ofo and the Ogo. He could have maybe changed the world. So I hope that you can maybe use some of these tools and hopefully we'll have a better world.